Texas prehistory, especially Central Texas, is a particularly rich prehistoric heritage, mostly because it sits at the confluence of several different biomes, and the Texas Hill Country itself, roughly essentially along I-35, is sort of this border between the Blackland Prairies to the east, and then the Hill Country to the west, and then the Southern Plains out toward the south and the east. And so these confluences of different biomes make for fantastic opportunities for prehistoric peoples to live and be able to exploit a wide variety of resources. They have all these different types of resources available to them from one spot. So you combine that with a perennial water source like the Comal Springs here, and it makes for a fantastic location to live. And so what we found here is that this has been occupied for thousands of years, at least 8,000 to 10,000 years. A way to put that into perspective would be that some of the earliest people who lived here could very likely have seen mastodons walking around, giant sloths, other large megafauna that occupied Texas those thousands of years ago could have been here at that time as well. The environment was much cooler, much wetter, and there was a lot more plant life and vegetation to live on. But over the course of several thousand years, this entire region became much drier, and it was a lot harder to live here. But people still did live here, but they had to kind of change the way that they carried out their lives. But a location like this, again, with that spring flowing right there, would have remained a fantastic kind of an oasis in an otherwise largely arid climate. We found there was a lot more subsistence on plants, and so they would use large burned rock ovens to bake plant foods, and those are very common in this region from a specific period of roughly 8,000 to about 3,000 years ago. And we found some evidence of those ovens here on the site, so clearly there was an occupation during that period. Also during that period, they weren't using bow and arrow. The bow and arrow hadn't been invented yet, and so they used a tool called an atlatl, which is a large wooden stick that has a hook on the end, and they would throw darts at their prey. Bow and arrow is found a lot later. We have found evidence of the earlier hunting styles with larger points that are typical for darts that are thrown with an atlatl. And so our work right now has been sort of helping New Braunfels Utilities to direct excavations for this project in a way that minimize the impacts to these significant resources as much as possible. Also to document what's here in the hopes that we can incorporate that into the park itself. This has been a real privilege to get to work on this project, and we are excited to continue the effort of collaboration with NBU and various state and federal regulatory agencies in documenting the archaeological sites that are here and the resources that are here to highlight the prehistoric and the historic occupations here at the site, and how it really highlights the interconnection between people and nature and how that has gone on since the beginning of time.